is Arlene Herson. The name of the show is Getting to Know You, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Tonight, we are going to get to know a genuine superstar, a man who has lit up the entertainment world for decades. His rich velvet voice has enchanted worldwide audiences, and his record sales exceed a dazzling 100 million. It gives me great pleasure to tell you that tonight we will get to know the most romantic singer of all time, Johnny Mathis. Welcome to Getting to Know You. I am so delighted to have you here, I can't tell you.
Thank you, it's nice to be here.
Okay, tell me, how do you do it? You have been enormously successful for over 20 years. Other singers have come and gone, and you have stayed at the top. You don't even look any older. What's your secret?
Well, there isn't any secret, really. When I started to sing, when I was 19 years old, which was, I guess, 25 years ago, I was looking for a livelihood, something to do for the rest of my life. And of course, my father, being a practical man, he had a large family. He always wanted his children to do something that would give them make a good living for them for the rest of their lives. And that's about the way I entered show business. I thought, well, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to try to make it last.
Yeah.
Fortunately,
you certainly
it's
have.
still lasting.
Okay, it's lasting and lasting. But however, when you were 19, you mentioned that's when you started, you had to make a very important decision at that time. You could have been the world's greatest athlete instead of the world's greatest singer. In my estimation, you have a natural ability in sports, and you received an athletic scholarship to San Francisco State College. And in 1956, you were invited to try out as a high jumper in the Olympics. Wow, you decided to go to singing. We're glad you did. That was an important decision. But what was your life like then when you had to make that decision?
Well, as a youngster, I guess I did the same thing that most kids do. I was interested in a lot of things. I was greatly interested in athletics. I had some ability as a high jumper and a hurdler. I loved basketball. I played a lot of basketball and hung out with a lot of great basketball players like Bill Russell and Casey Jones, who went on to become great superstars with the Boston Celtics. But when I was jumping and playing basketball, that to me was the thing that interested me. I was interested in not only trying out for the Olympics, but also in becoming a coach for an athletic team. And music, I'd always sung and I'd always studied. I started studying when I was about 10 years old. I studied classical music for about 8 or 9 years. And then I went on to take some lessons in how to make recordings. But that was secondary, really, to the athletics. I always figured that somehow, some way, I'd become a teacher. But it wasn't in the books.
Boy, am I glad you decided to become a singer instead of a teacher. But you did get to the Olympics after all. In 1972, you went to the Summer Olympics as a performer, not as an athlete. And is it true that you bought a house outside of Munich just to be sure that you would have a place to stay when you went to the Olympics?
Actually, there's a small town called Garmisch that I spent some time in I did a concert, and I knew some people who lived in Germany. And I found it so fascinating, and I wanted to spend some more time there, so I did buy a small house there on a lake, knowing that the Olympics were coming up and knowing that Munich would be very crowded. And I had in mind to utilize the house during the Olympics. As it turned out, I sold the house before the Olympics because I was invited by the Olympic Committee to do a performance, and they were taking care of all my housing and what have you. So I really didn't have any need for the house, and it was a little further away from Munich than I had anticipated. Anyway, it was a great thrill for me to actually get to the Olympics, even though I didn't participate as an athlete.
Yeah, but you came in a star in another way. Sports is still very important in your life today. What is your favorite sport?
Well, I'm kind of eclectic when it comes to sports. I love college basketball. I think it's exciting. I even think it's more exciting than professional basketball. I love college football. I like all the excitement.
Okay, I mean, what do you like to do? Because I read in Ebony,
I like to play
and the
golf.
reason, okay, that's what I was waiting for you to say, golf, because I read in Ebony that you said that golf was one of the most 3 or 4 most important things in your life today.
Well, it is because it's sort of not only a sport, but it's sort of a way of life. Golf is. It certainly you can tell a great deal about someone's character by playing a round of golf with them.
Oh, okay.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
Got to be on your best behavior on the golf course?
That's right.
Okay.
But I love golf, and I play as often as I can.
Terrific. We're going to take a commercial break right now, and then we'll be right back. We'll be back with Johnny Mathis after this message from one of our sponsors, so please stay with us. We're back with my special guest, Johnny Mathis. We're here at the Garden State Arts Center, sitting on the grass in Homedale on a beautiful day. Beautiful day for me because you're
Super.
here with me. With all of your talents, I have heard that you are also a fantastic cook, and that when you're on the road, you even travel with your own pots and pans, so that you can cook your meal in your hotel room. Is that true?
Yes, my mother and father were professional cooks, and they taught my 6 brothers and sisters and I to cook at an early age. I think, well, of course, the reason I cook my own food most of the time is because of the poor quality sometimes of the food that's available, plus the fact that it's something that I enjoy. It gives me pleasure to concoct different things. And when I travel to different parts of the world, of course, I'm able to sample all the food that's available. So,
by sampling all the food that's available, does that mean that you go shopping in the local supermarkets and that we might bump into you here?
Absolutely.
Which supermarket are you going to be in today? Tomorrow? Ladies, listen.
I go through supermarkets very fast.
Oh, okay. You're not going to tell us. Right, okay. When you cook at home, when you're not on the road and when you're home, you have the most fabulous house. I saw some pictures of it. It is incredible. Who was the original owner of the house you live in now?
The house was built in the 30s, the middle 30s by Howard Hughes. It was a very small house when I bought it, but it was unique in the fact that all the rooms are around an indoor swimming pool. So what I did was make the swimming pool area almost, well, it is an atrium. It has lots of trees and plants and flowers in it. And all the rooms still open up onto the pool area so that I can come from my bedroom, dive in the pool, swim across to the kitchen, and make my breakfast.
Hey, that's terrific. That's great. Does it really have an underground passageway that Howard Hughes used to use when he was there?
There used to be an underground passage. There is no longer one there because it's been sealed up. But there's still a gate that leads from my house to the house next door, which is owned by some very nice people that are friends of mine. But that was a place where he could have whoever he wanted to living there, and he could go to the house unnoticed. He didn't have to go outside.
Underground.
Very private man.
Yeah, everybody should have an underground tunnel. Like, most of your admiring public do not know you as an excellent athlete, as a gourmet cook. We know you as the greatest romantic singer of all time. Your career was a phenomenal success from the very beginning. What was it that encouraged you and recognized your terrific talent in the beginning?
My father. My father loved to hear me sing as early as about the age of 8 or 9. He was a good singer himself. He played the piano very well. He'd come home after work at night and sit down and play the piano and teach me songs. He taught me my first songs that I learned. And he was ambitious for me. I was just content to sing for pleasure, but he wanted me to study and try to make the most out of it. Then I was fortunate, of course, to find a teacher who would instruct me. I like to say we weren't poor, we just didn't have any money, especially for singing lessons. So this teacher, her name was Connie Cox, and she taught me for 8 years free of charge. I did whatever I could to help her by doing work for her, but it was a godsend, really. I would have never, ever made it in this business if she hadn't instructed me in voice production for those many years.
Yeah. And your family also. Your family was very special. I understand you're from San Francisco.
Right.
And your family worked your mother worked as a housekeeper, as a cook.
That's right.
And taught you all those terrific things you know about cooking, I gather,
That's
from
right.
your mother. And your father, you got your love of music. And you have 6 or 7 brothers and sisters, is
I have
that?
6 brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
Right.
I've seen pictures of them. What a family.
Yeah,
Really
got a
terrific.
great family.
You were very lucky. And your first piano, was it true, a $25 used upright?
Oh, yeah. And in fact, my father had to dismantle it to get it into the front door. We lived in a very small basement flat in San Francisco. But my father wanted a piano so badly, and he found one in the junkyard and dismantled it and brought it into the house, put it back together again. I think to this day, that's why sometimes I can sing so high, because I didn't really know what keys were going to come out on the piano. It was so awful. What notes were going to come out.
Well, you made your family very proud, and you were a sensation from the very beginning. Your first record, Wonderful, Wonderful, was immediately followed by Chances Are, and it's not for me to say. They all sold millions. We all know them by heart, almost. You earned $100,000 your first year in show business. Could you really believe that this was happening to you so quickly and so easily when other people have struggled so hard?
Well, it's nice to be young and ignorant, as I was. I didn't really realize what was happening. Money has never really meant anything to me because, first of all, I never had any before that time. So when I did acquire some, I really didn't have the habits that people have of spending. So that wasn't the thing that was important to me. The thing that I was just mystified about was the fact that people did enjoy listening to me sing, especially since there were so many incredible singers at the time, people who influenced me a great deal, people like Nat King Cole, Ella Fitzgerald, Sarah Vaughan, Lena Horne, and to be thought of as in the same business with them was quite a thrill for me, and in fact, it still is.
Yeah, right. But you zoomed right up there, and we're going to zoom into a commercial, and then we're going to come back. So please stay with us. We're here at the Garden State Arts Center with Johnny Mathis, and please stay with us, and we'll return right after this message from one of our sponsors. We're back at the Garden State Arts Center with Johnny Mathis. We were just talking about your phenomenal rise in the business. Every single album that you have recorded since then has been a major chart record, especially one called Johnny's Greatest Hits, which has been on the best-selling charts of Billboard for 9.5 years. How do you suggest your material? How do you select your material?
In the beginning, most of my material I selected because in the first few songs, in other words, all those songs on Johnny's Greatest Hits, the first, say, 10 recordings, I chose mostly because nobody really knew anything about my voice at that early age. Then after the success of Wonderful, Wonderful, and Chances Are It's Not For You to Say, I must say that the gentleman who signed me to Columbia Records, George Avakian, he's the man who took the first step that eventually led to my success. But along the way, I was tutored by Mitch Miller, who liked my voice, but he didn't like some of the music that I was singing. So he got me with people like Percy Faith, Glenn Osser, and Ray Ellis, and started to choose my material for me. And most of the songs were from Broadway shows that Columbia had was backing. Songs from Broadway shows like My Fair Lady, Camelot, Flower Drum Song, Gypsy, West Side Story.
What's your favorite?
I think my favorite is Misty.
Oh, yeah. That's one of mine too. Yeah.
because a very dear friend of mine, Earl Garner, wrote Misty, and he was a great booster of mine when I was a youngster. When I was about 13 years old, he heard me sing and was very instrumental in encouraging me and playing the piano for me. You can imagine a kid 13 years old with Earl Garner playing the piano for him. That was quite
At 13? Wow, oh, that's incredible. Terrific. Well, you've just done it again. You've just had another #1 hit just a short time ago. So whoever selects your material, whether it's you or somebody else, you do a good job. #1 hit, Too Much, Too Little, Too Late with Denise Williams. Are you going to record together again?
I'm sure we are. Denise, of course, has a very fast-rising career. She is one of the top rhythm and blues singers, and she's a dear friend. I've been singing with 2 or 3 gals lately, and find it very enjoyable. I did a song for a film same time next year with Jane Oliver. I've just finished a song with Gladys Knight.
Oh.
It's a lot of fun singing with these incredible ladies.
That's new for you, isn't it?
Well, it is. When I was studying classical music, of course, I sang in ensembles. I sang duets, trios, quartets. But I haven't really, until I sang with Denise, I hadn't sung on recordings with anyone else. I did a concert appearance with Leontine Price once. I sang with Beverly Sills on Dinah Shore's show, and on several other occasions, but never made any recordings.
No.
This is unique for me.
You have done terrific things, obviously. But I came across 2 quotes attributed to you that I wonder if you would comment on, okay? They're from a long time ago. I wonder if you still feel the way you do. The first one was from Celebrity Register in 1963, okay? I'm going to read it so I don't make any mistakes. And you said, quote, "I work hard for what I get, and if the music stops for me tomorrow, I'm sure I could work hard at something else and make a success at it."
Well, I was a little younger when I said that. No, I'd hate to have the music stop now, but I think people are... I think someone like myself perseveres. I think perhaps I could do something else. I don't know what. I don't know how I could get as much enthusiasm going as with my music, but I'm sure that maybe I'd become a cook.
Oh, well, learning what I have about you this past week, I'm sure you could do anything and everything and do it well, but I don't think you'll have to. I think you're going to be around for 100 million years, okay, at least. The other quote, okay, is, now I wonder if you still feel that way too. This is back in 1965, okay, quote, "Money to me is paper with cute engravings on it. I was once told how much of it I have, but I forgot." Does it really mean that little to you?
Yes. I don't use money in my daily life. I mean, it does. The only time I think I ever use money is when my brothers and sisters call me and say, "I need some money to do this or to do that."
Okay.
But as far as I'm concerned, I have very little use for it. The only extravagance that I ever think I've accorded myself is my house.
And your $20,000 Rolls Royce? No, Mercedes.
Yeah, but it's just a car. I just as soon have a Volkswagen.
Ah,
Doesn't
okay. Okay. We have to take another commercial break
Okay.
right now. Thanks for sharing with us. We'll be right back after a word from one of our sponsors. We're here at the Garden State Arts Center with Johnny Mathis. Stay with us. Which is where you're performing all this week, and everybody out there should come and see you. I know I'm going to be here. But when you're, how do you feel about performing outdoors in an open-air auditorium like this one?
I love it, especially in the summertime. It would be ridiculous to ask people to go indoors on such balmy evenings. It's a wonderful setting here at the Garden State Arts Center. I've been working here for, I guess ever since it opened. How long's that been? I can't remember. But anyway, it's a lovely outing, I think, for the people. They all seem to enjoy themselves, and with the exception of a few bugs that I swallow each night, it's not bad.
We talked about that. Tell me, how much time do you spend educating on the road?
About 6 months out of the year.
Is it lonely?
No. Mostly because there are 9 of us who travel. We've been traveling together for, I guess, 10 or 12 years. So we're like a family. And so we share all the nice things that happen to us when we travel. We've just come back from Monte Carlo. After we leave here, we'll be going to Canada. So we get to see some awful pretty places. So it really isn't lonely.
Good. And then you have a terrific place to come home to. Okay. We'll be right back. We have to take one more quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with Johnny Mathis. So please stay with us. We're back with my guest, Johnny Mathis. With all the things that you have done, have you ever thought about a career in motion pictures?
Well, I've made several films as a singer, just singing in films, and I've been a part of quite a few. But making a film is really, really very time-consuming. It's also something that isn't as immediate as the response that you get from an audience. So I've thought about making films, but so far, no one has asked me
if you were interested.
to make a film as an actor. But I think before too long, I might do something in a film, but not as a major project, because it does take too long. I wouldn't be able to play golf, and I'd have to go on location, and I don't know.
Okay, well, you've earned a lot of money. You've worked very hard, and you have been very successful. Is there anything that you'd change if you could do it all over again?
Yes, I think I'd get a little better. I'd learn to play the piano, for instance. I've always wanted to play the piano or play the guitar. But after my studies, after my voice production studies, which is what I studied, I was just a little bit too lazy. I had so many things to do that I forgot about the piano, and I forgot about the guitar. I forgot about the theory lessons and the harmony lessons. But if I had it to do over again, I'd study music in a little bit more fundamental way.
Well, whatever you've done it terrifically.
Thank you.
And it has been an absolute delight to get to know you. I thank you very much for being a guest on my program. It has been terrific. And thank you. I hope that you have enjoyed getting to know Johnny Mathis. I know that I have, and that I hope that you'll join us next week. In the meantime, good night. It's been a pleasure getting to know you.